If your MK3 Supra power windows move real slow up and down, the main reason is going to be because of all the original grease they put in all of your mechanisms has dried up and it's acting more like a glue than it is a lubricant. And you can get some temporary relief with some kind of penetrating oil. What you might end up doing is actually washing down the big wads of this grease back into your rollers and your pivot points, and it's just going to seize back up on you in time. The best solution is to remove both the window and the regulator completely from the door, clean all of that old grease out of there, completely remove it all, lube everything up with some good moly grease, and never worry about it again. Now, if your power windows are either not moving, that's a different story, okay? You could have a problem in one of your electrical switches, or you could have a completely jammed regulator, which is the case of this one right here. The signs that you're going to be facing a bad regulator jam are if you move, when you press the button to move your windows up and down, if it sounds like you're driving across a railroad tracks and you hear a thunk, 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 thunk every time you move it up and down, every one of those knocks you hear is the teeth between this gear and your motor. If this thing is jammed or you have that noise, replacing the motor is not going to fix your problem. This is a very high mileage car, and the problem is there's so much slack in this pivot point right here that there's too much distance between the teeth of the motor and the teeth of this gear, and the teeth end up riding on top of each other instead of engaging between each other. And I considered elongating the holes in the motor to try to move it as far closer to the gear as I can, but literally I just went and found a used one because I knew that might be a pipe dream, expecting that to work. And I picked this one up. It just came in today, and if you look and see, I don't know how, this is an amazing looking unit to me. I picked this out online purposely because I could see this wear mark in the pictures, and I saw how little of a wear mark it has. And look down at mine, you see the gigantic gouge that's in it. And you can see this is a very high mileage car, and this thing is just completely worn out. So I found one. This is out of California. It's called STAH Store is the name of the place it came from. And let me tell you what, this thing was packaged like nothing I've ever seen before, all in styrofoam underneath the box, all around the perimeter, wrapped in plastic, and all covered with heavy paper on top. Shipped to me perfectly. So shout out to those guys. Thank you very much. And like I said, the best thing you need to do is just remove all this assembly. You're not going to be able to see this. When this is showing you how the regulator is going to look in your car with the window up right now. Okay, and all of this is going to be covered in sheet metal. You can't see any of this. You just can't get to it to clean it up and lubricate it properly. That's why I say move it out. Same thing with the window. There's a roller on the window that you can clean the guide that roller is in by reaching through the door panel, but you're never going to clean that roller itself out until you remove the whole window. So I'm going to show you all these things. First, I'm just going to tell you quickly how to remove the window. First, you're going to start on the top of your door. There's going to be two stops like this, okay? On your window glass, there's two round pieces of plastic that made up to the bottom of this piece. These control how far up the front and rear of your glass goes. So you might want to try to marking their position before you take them off. It'll help you. So you got to take them off to be able to get the glass all the way out. One thing that's going to help you don't have to remove this, but it's really going to help you is to remove this roller. This roller only does the only thing it does is when you get to the top, the window gets to the top of its reach, there's a plastic guide on the side of the window on the front that this roller rubs against and kind of keeps the window pressed inward. as you can see, I've taken a couple pieces of just generic felt and cut pieces and stuck them to the inside of this tape, because anytime the window's partially down, this roller is just rattling, okay? Because there's no pressure against it. There's nothing holding on it except when the window's almost all the way up. So put a little couple pieces of felt, stuck them to the inside of this so that it roller works just fine, but yet it's not going to bounce around for me. Lastly, we have to take off these two guides. Okay, these guides sit down. You can see this here, just as they lock into the top edge of your door, inside door panel, the metal frame. And these are the guides that roll up against your inside of your window glass. You probably see they'll be completely flattened out. So try to fluff them up real good. If they're coming loose, as you can see a little bit, like here, the tape coming loose a little bit. Okay, so take some contact cement and glue that stuff down, let it sit overnight before you put it back in, and then you'll be fine. The other thing about these, you can see this piece of felt here. I'm going to show you this also in a second. When there's two more plastic pieces attached to your glass. When you reach the very top, they engage into this, and you can see what it's done to the felt on there. Hopefully I'm giving you the right angle. So I'm going to try to do the same thing. We'll try to probably stick a piece in there, because those things are just going to bounce around without that felt. Okay, once you get all 5 of those things loose, you're going to take your window regulator, you're going to roll the window all the way down to right here. There's going to be an access hole in the bottom of the door panel that you can reach this nut. Once it's all the way down here, you line it up. At the same time, you can also, there's a bigger opening on this side. You have no problem getting this nut off. At that point, all you're going to do is disengage the 2 bolts that are on the window and slide the window up and out. As you're sliding it, the only thing holding it still in the frame is that last roller on the window and that guide. It's going to kind of go up a little bit with the back of the glass first and then slide it out. Once you have the glass out of the way, the regulator is really pretty simple. I only have 2 more bolts that hold this guide on right here. I have my electrical connection for the motor. I have 4 bolts to hold the regulator in place. This bolt, there's a special slot on this bolt, so you don't have to take the bolt all the way out. This is for going in and out, so you can place the regulator and kind of hang it in place while you get your other 3 bolts started. Once you get it loose, all those bolts loose, you're gonna fold it up just like this. And I'll show you, lastly, the last thing I'll show you is real easy. You're gonna go in the on your driver's side, it'll be the farthest left big bottom hole. It's the only places this is gonna fit in and out. You know, work it up inside that hole and over into position, in and out. It's not that hard to do. So the last thing I want to really need to show you is just the window itself. Make sure you understand how to get those things out. Here is the final roller that I'm telling you about. You can't clean this. This goes in a guide inside the door, and you really don't need to take that guide out. You can clean it in place, and it also has adjusters on it too, so you really don't want to mess those up. But you slide this all the way out. When you lift the glass out, this is going to be the only thing holding the glass after you've unbolted that bolt and that bolt. This is one of the round plastic things that meets up against your stop. This is the plastic piece that roller rolls against. And this is where this is what goes to the inside of those felt guides that go on your door frame, okay? If these are broken, you're in deep doo-doo, because your window glass is probably going to shake a whole lot when the window's all the way up. It's really not going to be held in place like it should be. This is one of the issues with these cars. There's really nothing supporting this window when it's partially down. You're relying on these things, and they just don't do a very good job. Let's just face it, it is what it is. So now, get all this stuff cleaned up. I'm telling you, you'll see how nice and easily it all works. and then it's your choice of grease to use. You can, the original factory used this kind of stuff here, what they call white lithium grease. See, it's actually kind of a yellowish color. You'll see that old yellow stuff mashed with dirt and grime all mixed in that you're going to be cleaning out. I recommend you could either use something like a wheel bearing grease, or I recommend just a regular grease gun with some good black moly grease. Okay, you can see I did this years ago, this roller right here with that black moly grease. Notice this roller pivots as well. It's not fixed position. Okay, it pivots back and forth. And I greased this years ago, and this just still looks fantastic. It works fine. So clean all these rollers up. You're just not going to do this in the car. Take carburetor cleaner. It's the best thing I've found to wash out that white lithium grease. Brake cleaner, excuse me. Carburetor cleaner works too, but the brake cleaner seems to work a little better, dissolving that old grease. Clean all that out, maybe with some brushes, you know, some nylon bristle brushes, whatever it takes to get into all those guides. Clean all that stuff out, grease it up real good, and you're going to be shocked how well your windows work. Okay, so on the electrical side of things, guys, I have a lot longer, much more involved video because I wanted to explain to everybody, even for everybody who doesn't have a real strong electrical background, how to test all this stuff on your power windows, and show you that resistance problem that you may also find in your power windows that can also make them work slow. Okay, it's kind of a hidden problem in that switch. It's hard to find, but you can clean it out with some contact cleaner and get your power windows also sped up even a little bit more. So hope this helped a few people. Oh yeah, I forgot, I want to show you how to get this regulator in and out. It's really not that hard. Let me disconnect this. I'm gonna fold it up, okay, like so. That's all you need to do. Open the door, and this is the hole you're gonna go into right here. You're not gonna fit in that hole in the front. This one's not gonna work in the back, not of this hole, and you're gonna have to move the motor up into there like that, and then slide it all back in. Okay, if I can do that one-handed holding the camera, you can do it too. That's how it comes out. Here's the slotted special one of your bolts where I told you on that one bolt goes to. It's open so you can get the bolt in. Your other bolt for your regulator, it's the third bolt, fourth bolt. Okay, this is the two bolts that hold that short guide in place. It's really not that hard, guys. So I hope this helped you. Thanks for watching.